Are we getting a brand new Lion King land at Disneyland Paris? Good evening, welcome back to Judventures, where we're going to talk today about a rumour and some speculation that has started gaining a little bit of traction online over the last couple of days about what could be next for Disneyland Paris after the Arendell World of Frozen opens. Now, Disneyland Paris has been a bit of the black sheep of the Disney family over the last few years. Not over the last few years, over its entire course of being a park since it was built. Even when people were bidding for it, it really seemed that the locals to Disneyland just didn't really want it. There was lots of planned expansion back in the day. It was originally supposed to have a new park built every 10 years. Now that's only ever happened once with Walt Disney Studios being built. Since then, there's been extension after extension built upon it. It's just like they never really wanted to invest in the park. It's almost gone into administration a couple of times, I believe. It's just not really seen that same love that Disney parks over the rest of the world has received. And because of that, because it's not getting the footfall, because it's not getting the love of the other parks, or at least it wasn't until recently, we've not seen the same significant investment that you've seen at other areas around the world. And that could be about to change. They have seen a couple of little things. They've got the Avengers campus, which opened a few years ago, and they're currently in development for the new world of Frozen, the Arendell area, which is being built over there as we speak. There was also a plan to have a smaller version of the Star Wars land built over there as well, which originally was put in place alongside the world of Frozen. However, that has seemingly disappeared. It was there in the original concept and the original announcement. However, it eventually disappeared from all of the talk that was happening, and recent comments, although not 100% confirming it, seem to give a huge indication that that idea has just completely gone. So we had the new announcements at the 32nd anniversary of Disneyland Paris of the new reimagining of Walt Disney Studios. Walt Disney Studios will now be Adventure World, which is a name I personally really dislike. It makes it seem like it's a water park where you're likely to get tetanus on the edge of the Costa del Sol somewhere. It doesn't seem like a huge Disney property calling it Adventure World. Is it just me, or is there no thought going into these names these days? Adventure World, Fearless Valley, they're just picked from a bucket. It's not really a good name. But despite it not being a good name, in my opinion, for the world, the actual reimagining they're doing does seem really, really good. So they're going to reimagine the entire of Studio One. The entire hub area as you walk in is going to get this 1950s theatre vibe. It looks really nice. The concept art looks nice. The new dining locations and new rides look really good. I think it's really, really going to complement the area well. But not only that, they did announce a name for what we'd seen in the concept art before. They've announced Adventure Cove, and Adventure Cove is the central hub area running up to Arendell, the world of Frozen, in which it's specifically designed for multiple lands to spur off from. Very much like the central area Celestial Park in Epic Universe, or Main Street USA in the Disney parks, where it's going to have this area where you can go centrally and then just spur off into whichever land you want. Also, very, very interestingly, it was mentioned during that, so confirmed as well, that our Imagineers are working on the concept and design for the very next land. That's exciting news, because that confirms, one, I think it confirms that Star Wars has completely gone now, but two, it confirms that they're heading straight into planning a new area. Brilliant. Now, what the speculation and rumours are online at the moment is what the actual theme and a lot more details of this land are going to be. So, what this actually is going to be a Lion King land. So these are not confirmed by any means. This is just pure speculation and rumour. However, they are coming from some really sort of good news outlets such as La Parisienne, the newspaper, and also Ali over at Outside Ears, that all have a very good track record of releasing information online. The information that is being released on these forums and on these websites, such as the reimagining and changing of the exit to Studio One, they all came true. Even though it was announced before Disney officially announced it, they got this right. So there is a track record of getting this information correct. So even though it's worth taking with a pinch of salt, it's not 100% confirmed. I think there is a fair bit of stock in this information here. So, Lion King Land. Obviously, that's not going to be the name. We'll probably get some new fancy name, but for now, it's Lion King Land or Lion King World until we know anything more. It's going to be a smaller world, as you would expect around the Disneyland Paris area. They've not got a huge acreage of area to work with, so it's going to be smaller in design. But generally, the Disneyland Paris designs are based around one big attraction, with the world coming off of that attraction, with maybe some smaller little things dotted around. Now, this is the same concept for the Lion King Land. It's planned to have one big attraction, and when I say big, it does sound incredibly big, with some areas coming off around it. So those areas are going to be, by the looks of it, Timon and Pumbaa's jungle, the elephant graveyard, and Pride Rock itself. So it's going to have these three areas within Lion King world that are based heavily on the Lion King lore. Sounds really good to start with. Now, the main attraction itself will combine some of those lands into it, because it's looking like it's potentially going to be a brand new water-based dark ride, very similar to Pirates of the Caribbean at the other Disney parks and Disneyland Paris, but also with a little bit of that Jurassic Park river adventure thrown in as well for that thrilling side of it. So it's planned to be a water attraction or a water boat dark ride, not a flume, but a boat dark ride. And it's possibly going to be one of the longest attractions at any park. It's said that this entire ride lasts around 15 minutes long, which is 5 minutes longer than Pirates of the Caribbean, which also feels like you're on it forever. That's a massive, massive ride to put in there. But not only is it massive, it could also be one of the most immersive dark rides on the planet. So it's said, and again, this is all rumour, so take with a pinch of salt, but we're looking at around 10 different scenes, all from the movie itself. So very much like the Little Mermaid attraction over in Asia, you will go through the story of the Lion King, and you'll go through, in this boat ride, these different scenes leading you through the movie, culminating in the finale. Obviously, Lion King has probably got some of the best music and most memorable scenes of any Disney animated classic, especially from during that era, and so it's going to be an exciting prospect to go through all those. But not only does it have those 10 scenes, which is a huge number of scenes throughout this attraction, but it's also looking to have around 30 of the next generation audio animatronics that you can see as part of Tiana's Bayou adventure. Now, I've seen these animatronics on the same videos you guys have. These look phenomenal. They are epic. Some of them you can't tell the difference between, so although they've got that animated look to them, you couldn't tell the difference between real and animatronics. They move a lot more fluidly. The audio is excellent. To have 30 of these in this attraction, where you will have the likes of Simba, Rafiki, the hyenas, Mufasa, I think this, if it does come to fruition, could be one of the best dark rides in the world, especially for me. Lion King has always been my favourite Disney animated movie. It's just a wonderful movie, and this attraction does sound fantastic. The ride itself will culminate with a lift hill, whereby during this lift hill it will take place at the Battle of Pride Rock between Scar and Simba, and as you reach the top, you then obviously move on to the outside, very much like the Jurassic Park ride, in which the drop itself is on Pride Rock. So from the outside, you'll be able to see Pride Rock, and you'll have this drop come down from Pride Rock for this boat flume ride, which sounds amazing. Not only that, but it's also going to be potentially the largest boat drop ride at any Disney park, being, I think, 20 metres high. That is just a couple of metres less than the Universal River Adventure for Jurassic Park, which is a brilliant ride. We extremely enjoyed it when we went on it. It's a hell of a drop, and to have that as part of the Lion King attraction, brilliant. Cannot wait. Now, that is as far as those rumours go in terms of the ride and the 3 areas. Again, we'll have to wait and see if they come to fruition. But again, these people have a good track record of releasing this information early and getting it nail on the head. Happy Star Wars Day, by the way. Lots of talking, need to lubricate. What it's also said about this attraction as well, because we have a horrible climate over in Europe compared to over in America, is that it will utilise the same technology that's seen in some of the attractions over at the Asian Disney parks, as well as at Chiapas at Fantasialand, by which the water level of the flume ride can actually be reduced during the winter months. And what that allows them to do is it allows them to keep the attraction open, but it stops as much of the water spray and the guests getting as wet on the ride during those months where people wouldn't want to be as wet. It makes sure that people continue to go on the ride and keeps the footfall through the ride despite it being the colder winter months. So, good thing. The rest of this is pure speculation on my part and not on the sources online. But obviously, if you're going to have a Lion King land as well, you're going to have certain things in that land. You're going to have food, retail outlets, and other thematic elements as well. Now, I would fully expect that you're going to have character meet and greets. This is Disney after all. So you could have meet and greets with the likes of Timon and Pumbaa. You could have meet and greets with Rafiki. Or you could even have meet and greets with the likes of Simba and Mufasa themselves. However, most of the meet and greets I've ever seen have always been with biped creatures. Chip and Dale walk on 2 feet. Goofy, Donald, Mickey all walk on 2 feet. Even Baloo and King Louie over at Animal Kingdom both walk on 2 feet during the movies. Could you have a character meet and greet with a 4-legged animal? Is there any that are currently out there at the minute? Please let me know in the comments down below if you know of any. I don't know how they do that unless the meet and greet was utilising some form of technology that I have seen used before. In fact, I've seen it used at really small attractions for Christmas, in whereby you can have an animatronic, potentially an animatronic of Simba or Mufasa, but you'd actually have a person who can see you interacting with the animal through a camera. You'd have a person doing the voice in the background, and so this animatronic would be able to have its own voice and interact with the guests in the same way as a character in a suit. Could be a way of doing it. Could be that you just have some guy on his hands and knees, or 2 people in outfit, old school style, who knows, but I don't think you'd be able to get away with having a Lion King land without a Simba or Mufasa meet and greet. Come on, it's just not happening. As well as the character meet and greets, you're going to have food outlets. It's a Lion King. It's got to be some African cuisine. It's going to be really nice to see somewhere with African cuisine, because you don't often see many of them around. Most places tend to aim for the same kind of food subgroups. They'll throw in a bit of Asian cuisine. They'll throw in some Chinese cuisine. You don't often see African food all over the place. A couple of places do it, but it's not one of the most popular, and I think that'd be really nice to see over in the Lion King land. As part of it as well, maybe this is probably beyond speculation now and going into the world of dreaming, but they do love the zoos over here in the UK and over in Europe. Could it be that because it's an African themed area that they would potentially have some animals there, very similar to Animal Kingdom, have a bit of safari? I don't know. Again, pure speculation. Couple of African animals there, a lizard house or something, I don't know, I'm no expert. But it could be something that they throw in there as well, just to bulk out that attraction. There's another complete rumour as well that they're looking to maybe build a bit of a carousel similar to the flying carpets from Aladdin, but it's going to be based on the I Just Can't Wait to Be King song, where all of the animals are opening up like petals to reveal Simba on the top. They're going to have that style of attraction with that central animal sort of pyramid in the middle and the flying carpet or Dumbo style seats on the outside to create that flying carousel as if you were part of that musical scene. Again, complete rumour. There's some further rumours as well about what's potentially after the Lion King land. Now, I won't go too much into it because these rumours are getting more and more speculative as you go along. But there's a lot of talk about how it could be that if the Lion King land is successful and the world of Arendell is successful, that they will then potentially look at putting a smaller version of Pandora in between where that Frozen land is and the Cars attraction is currently. Be a really small version of it. But this could also be seemingly backed up by Bob Iger's comments at the Morgan Stanley press conference, where he recently did state, words from his own mouth, that Pandora will be coming to California and could also make an appearance in both Asia and Europe as well. So maybe it's not as speculative as you think. Maybe we could potentially get a Pandora. Personally, I don't like the idea. Pandora is a fantastic land over in America, but I don't like to see too many repeated IPs all over the place. Obviously, when you're talking about the UK, Universal Great Britain, there's some that I'd like to see there just because it saves on that sort of travel and transport over to the US. But within Europe itself, you'd just like that mix, wouldn't you? You wouldn't want to be able to, like the Star Wars land. I love Star Wars, but I'm glad they're not doing it, because if you could go to a small Star Wars over in Europe and then a medium Star Wars over in Hollywood and then a large Star Wars over in Orlando, you're not really getting that sort of multiple IP experience that you would if you did have multiple IPs. You're seeing the same thing to different qualities and different extents. I do like the idea of having a completely separate set of lands over in Europe to what you've got over in the US, and therefore you've got twice as much enjoyment possible. Cost you twice as much money, but there's twice as much enjoyment possible there. Now, if the Lion King does go ahead, can you imagine the theme park landscape, not just in the UK, not just in Europe, but across the world by 2030? This Lion King land, if it does go ahead, it looks to be set for around 2028, maybe late 2027 opening, if they get their ass into gear and get it sort of moving straight away. It looks like it could potentially be announced at D23 this year. So if they do announce it, then straight away get on those permits. We could have it by late 27, early 28. But just imagine the landscape. By that point, 2030, you could potentially have a whole new Epic Universe theme park over in Orlando, which looks mind-blowing. You've got the likes of Hyperia, which will be well established in the UK, which is a world-class coaster. Theming aside, what a coaster that looks like. Some of the elements on that, the amount of airtime, the amount of hang time, it looks phenomenal. And who wouldn't want it? If it's a choice between not having that coaster because of the theming or having that coaster without the theming, I think we're all going to choose to have it without the theming. We'd prefer it with, But if it's a choice of not having it all or having it without theming, we're going without theming. We're going to quickly lose the care for the theming if they're threatened to take the whole thing away. So we're going to have the Hyperia as well. We're going to have potentially Project Horizon done by that point over at Alton Towers, as well as whatever else it is that they're planning. They seem to be on a really good roll at the moment. You've got, obviously, by 2030, Universal Great Britain, our very own Universal Resort over here in the UK. You could have potential updates over at Pleasure Beach that might finally, by 2030, have removed Ice Blast and put something new in there. Or the part that they've ordered for it might turn up by 2030. Who knows, but I'd be getting a refund from that delivery company, that's for sure. But there's also going to be plenty of other things at all of these parks that I've mentioned, other parks I haven't mentioned, that's going to be happening by 2030. And the theme park landscape has just blown up. It looks... I honestly can't say how excited I am to experience it all. 2024, I've mentioned this before on Instagram and I've mentioned it on a couple of videos. It seems like 2024 is a golden age for roller coasters and theme parks. It's like the world has hit it running. Go as far as Saudi Arabia and you've got Falcon's Flight, the new drop tower over there, and the God knows how many coasters. In fact, they're not just building a theme park either, they're building a whole goddamn world over there themselves. Entertainment in that space, in that theme park space, has blown up, and the next 5 to 10 years is going to be a phenomenally, astronomically brilliant time to be a theme park fan. Let us know what you think about the possibility of Lion King coming to Disneyland Paris. Do you like the idea? Do you not like the idea? Would you like to see a different IP come in its place? And should we give any stock to any of these rumours? If you like this video or any of our other videos, smash that like button. If you think I waffled crap, by all means, smash that dislike button. And if you want to see more, then I implore you, please subscribe. It'll cost you nothing, but it really does help. But if you don't want to subscribe, by all means, you don't have to. And with that being said, I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.